Okay, today is day 28, and wherever you go, there you are, by John Kabat-Zinn. And the message is, what is my job on the planet? With a capital J. What is my job on the planet is one question we might do well to ask ourselves over and over again. Otherwise, we may wind up doing somebody else's job and not even know it. And what's more, that somebody else might be a figment of our own imagination and may be a prisoner of it as well. As thinking creatures packaged as in all life forms in unique orgasmic units we call bodies, and simultaneously totally and impersonally embedded in the warp and woof of life's ceaseless unfolding, we have a singular capacity to take responsibility for our own unique piece of what it means to be alive. At least while we have our brief moment in the sun. But we also have the singular capacity of letting our thinking mind entirely cloud our transit through this world. We are at risk of never realizing our uniqueness, or at least as long as we remain in the shadow cast by our thoughts, habits, and conditioning. Buckminster Fuller, the discoverer, inventor of the geodesic dome, at age 32, contemplated suicide for a few hours one night at the edge of Lake Michigan, as the story goes. After a series of failed businesses that left him feeling he had made such a mess of his life that the best move would be for him to remove himself from the scene and make things simpler for his wife and infant daughter. Apparently, everything he had touched or undertaken had turned to dust in spite of his incredible creativity and imagination, which were only recognized later. However, instead of ending his life, Fuller decided, perhaps because of his deep conviction in the underlying unity and order of the universe, of which he knew himself to be an integral part, to live from then on as if he had died that night. Being dead, he wouldn't have to worry about how things worked out any longer for himself personally, and would be free to devote himself to living as a representative of the universe. The rest of his life would be a gift. Instead of living for himself, he would devote himself to asking, what is it on this planet, which he referred to as Spaceship Earth, that needs doing that I know something about, that probably won't happen unless I take responsibility for it? He decided he would just ask that question continuously and would do what came to him, following his nose. In this way, working for humanity as an employee of the universe at large, you get to modify and contribute to your locale by who you are, how you are, and what you do. But it's no longer personal. It's just part of the totality of the universe expressing itself. Rarely do we question and then contemplate with determination what our hearts are calling us to do and to be. I like to frame such efforts in a question form. What is my job on the planet with a capital J? Or what do I care about so much that I would pay to do it? If I ask such a question and I don't come up with an answer other than I don't know, then I just keep asking the question. If you start reflecting on questions when you're in your 20s, by the time you are 35 or 40 or 50 or 60, the inquiry itself may have led you a few places that you would not have gone had you merely followed mainstream conventions or your parents' expectations for you, or even worse, your own unexamined, self-limiting beliefs and expectations. You can start asking this question anytime at any age. There is never a time of life when it would not have a profound effect on your views of things and the choices you make. It may not mean that you will change what you do, but it may mean that you may want to change how you see it or hold it, and perhaps how you do it. Once the universe is your employer, very interesting things start to happen, even if someone else is cutting your paycheck. But you do have to be patient. It takes time to grow this way of being in your life. The place to start, of course, is right here. The best time? How about now? You may never know what will come of such introspections. Fuller himself was fond of stating that what seems to be happening at the moment is never the full story of what is really going on. He liked to point out that for the honeybee, it is the honey that is important, but the bee is at the same time nature's vehicle for carrying out cross-pollination of the flowers. Interconnectedness is a fundamental principle of nature. Nothing is isolated. Every event connects with others. Things are constantly unfolding on different levels. It is for us to perceive the warp and the woof of all of it as best as we can and learn to follow our own threads through the tapestry of life with authenticity and resolve. Fuller believed in an underlying architecture of nature in which form and function were intrinsically linked. He believed that nature's blueprints would make sense and would have practical relevance to our lives on many levels. Before he died, X-ray crystallographic, I think is how you say it, crystallographic studies had demonstrated that many viruses, submicroscopic assemblies of micromolecules on the edge of life itself, are structured along the same geodesic principles as those he discovered by playing along with polyhedra. He didn't live long enough to see it, but in addition to all his other seminal inventions and ideas, a whole new world of chemistry opened up around the unpredicted discovery of soccer ball-like carbon compounds with remarkable, with remarkable properties, which quickly became known as Buckminster's Fullerness, or buckyballs. Playing in his sandbox, following his own path, his musings led to discoveries in worlds he never dreamed of. So can yours. Fuller never thought of himself as special in any sense, just a regular person who liked to play with ideas and with forms. His motto was, if I can understand it, anybody can understand it. Insist on yourself. Never imitate. Your own gift you can present every day with the cumulative force of a whole life's cultivation. But of the adapted talent of another, you have only half possession. Do that which is assigned to you, and you cannot hope too much or dare too much. And that's from Self-Reliance from Ralph Waldo Emerson.